Are you considering moving to Olympia and wondering which neighborhoods you should avoid? Well, we are going to tell you the top 5 neighborhoods to avoid, so keep watching.
We're Joe and Charity, realtors in the area, and we help people every week just like you who are considering relocating to this area. So if you're thinking about moving to Olympia, then this video is for you. Matter of fact, we've made it easy for you to connect with us. You can just reach out and call or text us on the number below.
Now, as realtors, we're not allowed to steer you in one direction or the other, but we are allowed to give you information that you can find yourself online and provide our own opinions.
And we are opinionated. Matter of fact, one of our biggest opinions is there's not a bad place to live in the Lacey, Olympia, Tumwater area. This place is fantastic. I actually think it's kind of the gem of the whole Puget Sound. So I gotta let that out first. We're biased, and that bias is you should probably join us because this place is awesome. However, let's jump into the first place that you may want to avoid if you are considering relocating here, and that is the Upper East Side.
So the reason we say that is because if you are like me and you like neat and tidy, clean lines, and you like an HOA neighborhood, you're not really going to get that here in the Upper East Side. In fact, it's a very creative area. You might find people with purple houses. You might find some landscaping that's very unique. There's nothing cookie cutter about this area. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely want to avoid this area.
But if that eclectic vibe is for you and you like the creativity, the free spirits, then this might be the neighborhood you're looking for. And if you're looking for a bakery in the neighborhood, let me give the insider. It's San Francisco Street Bakery, and it is delicious. The bagels, the cream cheese, the sweets that they've got, the bread, it's amazing. So you're going to want to stop there any day of the week. It's always good, and there's always something fresh to grab.
One of the things to note in this area is that the price per square foot is higher. And that's because these are older, smaller homes. In fact, you're going to find a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bath or 3-bedroom, 1-bath homes. And that means that it's a little bit more expensive because the area actually is quite desirable. People love living here, close to downtown, close to restaurants, very walkable. So if you're thinking, well, I need a little bit more of a house, a bigger of a house, this might not be the place for you. I had a client who bought a home, however, in this area, and they loved the area because they got that eclectic blend. They got a tiny little house, and when I say tiny, it was tiny. One of the bedrooms was kind of like a closet, and then there was this other little room that had a little loft up there that really could only work for a 4-year-old, but they absolutely loved living area because it was charming and really quaint. And one of the other cool things about that house is the previous owner had built what's called an ADU, or an accessory dwelling unit, on the back. And that means they had rental income and they actually used it as an Airbnb. So if you're looking for something like that, this actually could be the neighborhood for you.
That leads us to the second place that potentially you're going to want to avoid, and that is the Capital District. And the number one reason you probably want to avoid that, if you're looking for a new house, you're out of luck, because there is one row, basically one block of new houses, and the rest are older homes that have been around for quite a while, going back to when state capital became the state capital.
A very long time ago.
Yeah, and they're larger homes. A lot of them need to be updated. Some of them have been updated, but a lot of them will need some updates because even if they were remodeled, it was back in the 80s because they're old homes. There is a lot of eclectic blend here as well. Lots of charm, lots of character, lots of trees, really, really beautiful. But you need to be aware of that. You're going to be looking at some larger homes. Not that there's not some small ones around, but most of them are a little better on the bigger side.
Yeah, so in comparison to the Upper East Side, you've got older homes that are tiny. You've got older homes that are bigger here. So if that's appealing to you and you want something with charming character, and you want an area that's close to downtown and walkable, and also close to the Capitol, which is such a nice walkable area. In fact, the gardens and the grounds, they're designed by the same person who designed Central Park in New York. And you've got great views from Capitol grounds as well. Yeah, so
over the lake, over the mountains. It is a really beautiful area all times of the year. You'll find people walking around there. And then that leads us to the third place that you're going to want to potentially avoid if you're moving to the area, and that is Steamboat Island.
Steamboat Island is an area all the way out to the little tiny Steamboat Island on the very tip. And there's only like 20 houses out there, so you're probably not going to live there. But that whole area, as I mentioned, is called that, and you're going to find it in another neighborhood really close to the island called Carlyon Beach neighborhood. And the reason you might not want to live here is because if you're looking for waterfront, bougie, really uppity feel for your waterfront property, that's not it.
Now, this is an eclectic blend. There's going to be manufactured homes. They're going to be stick built. There's going to be some that are on the water that are a little bit larger or nicer, but it's this eclectic blend. The cool part about it is that whole community has got great beach access. And so if you're into paddleboarding, you're kayaking, you want some really great views, it's got a really cool vibe. It just isn't that super upscale bougie. So if that's not your vibe anyway, you're going to crush it here.
Also, as you mentioned, that whole area as you're getting out to the point is called Steamboat Island, and that area offers larger properties. So if you need a little mini farm, you just want some space around you, then that could also be a reason you want to be here. And you have a fantastic school district. It's called the Griffin School District. It actually is connected to the Olympia School District. The high schoolers will go to Capitol High, but the middle school and the elementary schools are their own, and they have very small teacher to student ratios. So people really want to live here just for the schools.
One other downside though is this the furthest from Olympia. And maybe if you have some medical concerns, issues, those type of things, that's important to be closer to the hospital. This might be a little bit of a driving distance that you might not want to have. And that leads us to the fourth place you might want to avoid, which is downtown. And the number one reason here that you'd want to avoid it is there's really not a lot of options. So if you're looking to buy a single family home, there's just not a lot of options. What you're going to find is condos and apartments.
So if you want condo living, then that's okay. But another thing about it is it's kind of pricey because a lot of those apartments and condos are newer, and so they have a view of the water, which just makes things pricier, which is also a benefit if you want a view of the water. But weigh those things out and see if that's the kind of place and the kind of living that you want to have. One of the other things you want to consider is there is a higher concentration of homelessness in the downtown area because of the services that are provided there. So if that's a concern for you, then you may want to consider not moving to this area as well.
However, if you do decide to live down there, the walkability to restaurants, a really wonderful bakery, the bread peddler. You've got the marina, you've got the boardwalk down there with views of the boats and the water and the Olympic Mountains. It is a really stunning, gorgeous place. And you'll find people meandering around there because that's the pace of Olympia, which is more of a meandering pace. And it's awesome. And it's really fun to be down there. So if that's what you're into, and as well as festivals and other downtown city events, which are happening, well, then this is just the right spot for you.
One thing that goes along with that, though, is you have to consider the amount of noise and congestion. So it's not like Seattle congestion or anything downtown, but compared to other peaceful areas of Olympia, it's going to be noisier because of all the things going on and a little bit more people and congestion going on down there. So something to think about, but you get to consider and decide for yourself.
And that leads us to the fifth place that you may want to consider avoiding if you move to Olympia, and that is the Olympia High School area. Why would you want to avoid living there?
I don't know.
I can't tell you because we live here. Actually, we could give you a couple reasons why people are deterred to move away. One of them is there are a lot of older homes, and those older homes usually need to have some updating to go with it. Not everybody wants to take on a fixer, not that they all are. A lot of them in really great conditions, but a lot of them do need to be brought up to maybe current amenities. Matter of fact, when we bought ours, it took me, not us, because we don't have a mouse in our pocket. It took us about 5 years to finish the remodel to bring it up to the place of modern standards.
Yes, it was not
a hot mess.
Shape.
Yeah.
However, there are some newer homes. Even though we live in one from 1960 and there are a lot of them, there are some neighborhoods where you have some things that were built in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Not a ton being built that's brand new because there's just not a lot of land here, but there are some newer neighborhoods, and some of those still might need some updating, the ones that were built in the 90s.
There are some really great places, though, to walk around. And this is one of the people like about Watershed Park I'll talk about in a minute. However, one of the great things about this area are my favorite pizza places. There's Dick's Pizza and then there's Briggs Tap House. Both of them, depending on how they're like, kind of similar pizzas, both of them are equally amazing. Yeah. So just to let you know, if you like pizza, you got a shot. And there's also Watershed Park.
Watershed Park is this big, beautiful forested park with a creek down at the bottom, and it is a great place to go any time of year. In fact, there's a road that goes right through it that has the trees just overlap the road, and so in the fall, all the leaves are falling. It's wonderful, and we enjoy that. We live right by it.
So those are the 5 places that you should avoid. And if you're like me, you actually found one of the places that you'd love to live in. And if any of those are piquing your interest, go ahead and just shoot a text or call us on the number below, and we'd love to help you in your process of discovering the right place for you in the Olympia area.
If you found this video helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe, and then keep watching.